Hey, so this is going to be a longer video, but the whole point of this is basically something happened today that made me feel really uncomfortable, and I think that there's some lesson to be taken from this interaction that I had, and my core belief is that if it positively impacts somebody, if it helps somebody out there, then at least there's some good that came out of it. So I'll just tell you what happened. So I was at the gym. I was working out, and I just did my usual workout, feeling good, feeling happy, feeling healthy. That's the whole point, that I want to just feel healthy or feel better. So I finished working out, and I also had planned to go swim, go sit in the hot tub for a bit today. So I brought my swim gear. I go downstairs, and my facility's got the gym, the pool combo, which is great. So I get my swim trunks on, I put my stuff in the locker, it's all good. So far, so good. Then I go rinse off in the shower, nothing happens, and then I go over to the lengths pool, and I swim a bit, doggy paddle, and just relax, and I'm feeling good. I haven't been to the pool in probably a month, maybe more, but it feels really nice, and I'm just happy with the experience. I just exercised, had a long week of work, and now I'm just relaxing in the water. So now I decide, okay, that's enough cold water, decide to go to the hot tub. And so I sit there. It's pretty busy tonight. And the way the hot tub is shaped is it's kind of like a rectangle. Yeah, it is a rectangle, long rectangle. I'm on the short end, slightly left of the center. So that's kind of important for what's going to happen in just a sec. So as I'm sitting there, kind of have my eyes open a bit, close a bit, just trying to relax. And I'm generally quite aware of my surroundings. So through my peripherals on my left, I see a person approaching, and they come and they enter to the corner, and I'm thinking in my head, well, if you enter that way, there's somebody right in front of me, so, or just a little bit of hint in front of me, so it's going to be a really tight squeeze. You're going to be pretty close to us, but, and COVID, but also there's no limits anymore, so it's not like I can go and police him. So this fella comes in and makes a bit of a splash, and some of it splashes on me, and then he says something along the lines of, "Oh, sorry about that." And I generally try to be a nice person, I like to think, and so I played it off, and I said, "Oh, none of it got on me. It's all good." And I kind of see him looking at me, and I mean that's normal, right? Because you kind of look at what's around you, didn't really think anything of that. So I'm sitting there, and he's sitting there, and I hear him, make the sound of your mouth opening, right? And he starts chatting with me, and I think, like, I'm tired, but at the same time, like I said, I try to think I'm a nice person. I'm not gonna just tell somebody to screw off or something. And so, sure, okay, you want to talk, okay. And so he asked me, he says, "Oh, did you come from the gym?" And I'm thinking, like, okay, does he know that I came from the gym? Is there any discernible feature? Maybe a guess, who knows? But then I say, yeah, not thinking too much of it, because why would I need to lie about that? I can just tell him the truth, right? That I did come from the gym. So I say that. He's like, "Oh, okay, that's good." Something along those lines. I don't really remember. And then he says something about, like, the hot water and all that. And I say, yeah, it's good for the muscles and all that. And at some point, he touches me on the shoulder. And actually, now that I'm thinking back, I think this is when he was coming in, and he kind of made that splash, and I played it off, and then he kind of, like, that kind of joking, like, "Oh, it's okay," that kind of thing. But at the same time, like, why are you touching my shoulder? It's kind of weird. And that's the point when things got kind of funky, and that's when that's when my guts were kind of saying, "Hey, something's off." Um, so he continues to talk, and he asks me stuff like, how old I am, tries guessing my age. I play along a bit. He asks me what I do for work. I don't tell him the truth. And as I'm saying all this, and I think maybe as some of you are probably thinking, "Man, why don't you just lie? Why don't you just leave? Why don't you tell me you don't want to talk?" And you know what? I agree. Why didn't I? But in the moment, I like I said, I feel like I'm a nice person, or at least I think I try to be, and so I don't want to create some what I perceive almost as negative. But in hindsight, I realized that because it made me feel so awful, essentially what happened was a boundary of mine was being crossed, and I was just sitting there allowing it to happen. But in the moment when these things happen to you, especially if you're not used to them, you're not prone to make a choice that's, well, at least I wasn't prone to make a choice that was more extreme to end the interaction right away. Instead, I just thought, maybe just be nice, and, like, I don't know, I don't wanna create a scene, I don't wanna cause offense, and all of this is sounding like stuff that I've heard before from people who've had similar experiences, which is kinda scary to me. So anyways, he chats a bit more, and I'm, like, really not interested, and also feeling like he's, like, I don't know, I'm not the most attractive guy, but I feel like maybe he was hitting on me, and the touch and the constant looking, and he mentioned that I have like a hulking physique or something like that. I can't help but think that all of that points at something. And every now and then I caught him like kind of looking at my shoulders, which again, like they're just shoulders, right? There's nothing sexual about shoulders, and but still it felt invasive and it felt uncomfortable. So what I did was I decided, okay, I'm just gonna say something like, "Oh, okay, play it off. Nice talking to you. Okay, I'm gonna head off somewhere else." And so I say that, and I pop out of the pool, and I go back to the cold pool, and because I am quite hot, I decide to just cool off and just relax in there, and try to just think, "Oh, you know what? That's it. It's not gonna bother you anymore." But as I'm sitting in the cold pool, I'm ruminating a lot. I'm thinking a lot, and just thinking like, "Wow, that was really uncomfortable." And again, like I said earlier, yep, I could have just said, "Oh, I'm not interested in talking. Oh, could you please not bother me? Can you please leave me alone? I'm feeling uncomfortable." But I didn't. And it's because that wasn't my first inclination in the moment. And I can't help but think that for other people who have been or unfortunately might end up in scenarios like that, that could be the reality. And so anyways, I'm sitting in the cold pool for a while, and I think, "Okay, nothing of it. We should be good." I kinda see in my peripheral that he's talking to other people. So I'm thinking, "You know what? He's probably just being nice, being chatty." Again, I have this kind of positive, assumption about others. But not too long later, in my peripherals, because again, good surrounding awareness, I see him come out of the hot tub, and he slowly enters into the colder pool where I am. And that colder pool, mind you, is mainly reserved for swimming lengths. So I figure, you know, coincidental maybe. Maybe he's decided he wants to swim a bit. But no, he comes in and he kind of just dips around and he's almost in a similar position to me. I'd say not 3, 4 feet away, very close. And now before I even give him a chance this time to, interact with me, continue the conversation, whatever it may be, I get kind of scared and fight or flight kicks in and I decide to fight and I just swim off down the lane and I pop out the other end of the lane. And I'm just like, okay, I'm just not gonna look at him. I'm just gonna ignore him, and hopefully he gets the message that I'm just not having this. So I go around the back, and that's the thing. I kind of sneak around the facility, go into a different pool, partially just trying to play it off that, oh, I'm just gonna go to a different part because I don't want to send that message that like I don't want to talk to you, man. But at the same time, again, I'm realizing it's so important to communicate clearly because one, people can't read your mind, and two, you want to create a situation or you want to make it brutally clear so that a person, if they choose to continue to, they are clearly overstepping your boundaries, and so it creates that kind of situation there. And I go into the other hot tub and I kind of look around and I see that, okay, I don't see him. I think we're good. And then I locate him again, and this time he's near the lockers. And I think, okay, you know what? Maybe he's heading out or something, right? It should be fine. But lo and behold, he makes his way over to the same pool as me, the third time. And you know what they say? Once, twice, coincidental, right? But when you got 3 times, that's a pattern. There's intent there. That's deliberate. So he comes from the same hot tub as me, and I figure, okay, what are the odds that he's going to come near me? He's going to just go to the hot tub, right? I mean, there's people near me too. But no, lo and behold, he walks in, and he situates himself right next to me. And he's all chipper again and all happy, and he's like, oh, hey, how's your evening going? Also, I didn't get a chance to ask you, what did you do for work? And at that point, having let it fester for so long, I looked at him. I put on a slightly tired face, which I really was feeling. And I said, hey, I'm sorry. I've had a long week and I'm just not interested in talking. No offense. And he plays it off pretty well. He's like, oh, yeah, I feel that way sometimes too. That's okay. And he starts chatting up a different guy next to me. And I sat there for a bit longer. I went to some of the other pools for a bit, but I still felt that discomfort. And I felt so uncomfortable, and I feel embarrassed saying this right now, but I felt so uncomfortable that I went to the lockers and I didn't even shower. I didn't even change out of my wet swim trunks. I simply used my towel. I dried as much as I could with just a towel. And I used my towel as a seat cover on the way home so that I wouldn't have to change, spend more time, potentially have to interact with him, run into him again. And it's it's crazy. Look at it, okay? I'm not a tiny, small, frail, old person. I'm a 6 foot, 200 pound guy. I work out every now and then. I have self defense training. I have experience in that kind of stuff. I have got pretty good situational awareness. And I felt uncomfortable. I mean, sure, it could be magnified because I'm in my swim clothes at a pool. You got less clothing on, you're more visible, you feel more vulnerable naturally, but and also maybe because I haven't ever been in that kind of experience before where I am that vulnerable and a person is so close and like constantly pushing. Like I've had, guys, girls hit on me before, but like that kind of scenario and really like I have no desire to. It's a Friday. I'm tired. I just want to relax on my own. And the fact that it could happen to someone like me, it makes me think and it kind of throws it all into my eyes how blatantly obvious it is that for all those other people who maybe don't have my size, my strength, those traits that, if anything did happen, if it did escalate, I could easily defend myself. People who don't have those things, it must be so much worse. I bet it is. And so I guess the point I hope that gets really driven home is that, I don't know, hitting on people, catcalling people, that's something that personally I've never believed in, I never understood. And I think part of it is because of my innate personality that these kinds of things make me so uncomfortable, which is why I would never want to do such a thing to another person. Even in a situation where that is more acceptable, like maybe, you're at a bar or you're at a speed dating kind of networking thing, not business networking, but like a dating networking kind of thing where it is more acceptable. I still don't really want to do that because it makes me so uncomfortable. And I know that the way I feel that that's unique to me. There are probably other people who feel that way, and there are probably people who like that kind of thing. But I think it's generally better to err on the side of caution in life, and because you never know how people are. So it's better to err on the side of caution and assume that people probably don't want that kind of activity, that kind of behavior, because it can cause so much discomfort in a person. Like, as I was saying all of that, it made me think about all those times I've heard about people who have experienced being catcalled, people who've experienced unwanted advances, people who've experienced being hit on when they really didn't want to. And, it really drives home to me that feeling. There's a saying that you don't understand something, no matter how much you study it and take the time to read about it or hear about it, you don't understand it until you've experienced it. And I really get that now. It's gross. Now, like, even now, okay, no offense to that guy, like, I don't know, was he hitting on me? Was he just being really chatty, and is he friendly? I don't know, but whatever it was, it felt uncomfortable, and if I could do that over again, I would just be much more upfront and clear and just like, "Hey, sorry, not interested in talking." And if he kept following me around, I'd just tell him, "Hey, you know, don't appreciate you following me around. It's kind of creepy. Makes me feel uncomfortable. Could you stop?" And if it escalated from there, then, I mean, fortunately, I was in a public place. Get people involved, because law abiding. But for all those people out there who go through similar things, who experience things like that, especially in situations where you aren't as safe, maybe it's a dimly lit bus stop and you're the only two there, or something like that. Know that at least one person out there, right here, knows how you feel in the moment, and just practice situational awareness and be more proactive. Is it ever the victim's fault? And no, I'm not calling myself a victim. I'm talking about people who've had it much worse. But should you ever blame those people? No. But at the same time, you can't trust a perpetrator to be nice and not put you in that kind of situation. You got to be proactive and just try to avoid those situations. Um, but it's gross. Um, like I said, long week of work. I just want to relax. Just want to, exercise, keep my health up, do my body good, that kind of stuff. Not, not entertain that kind of things. And yeah, I don't know. I don't really have a train of thought now, but I just wanted to say that yeah, it made me feel really uncomfortable. To the point that I'm filming at this angle actually because I don't want to look remotely appealing, and that's another point. When I've seen people who like usually girls who will make an effort not to make their appearance good, and because they don't want to be hit on by guys or whatever. And I really understand that now. I'm doing it myself, and it's not because what I'm so handsome that I'm gonna attract everybody. It's not that, but it's just like it's a defense mechanism that a person hitting on you in such a way, and to that extent made you feel uncomfortable, so now you're trying to do whatever you can, and this is like a minute effort but still something that you can do to try and reduce the chance of that happening. And it's sad. I mean, in an ideal world, people should be able to dress how they want, and as long as they're not offending anybody, just enjoy yourself and be happy. And um, yeah, but anyways, I know, super long video. If you're still watching, cool. And I hope it benefits you. I hope it helps you somehow. I hope that if you've ever experienced this yourself, like, at least know that, again, there's somebody else that has experienced that. And if you ever want to talk about it, hit me up and like say that you want to talk about it, and maybe we can talk about it. If you're somebody who likes to catcall and hit on people, maybe think twice about it. Think about the situation. Like, you see somebody, handsome guy, handsome girl, handsome person of any gender or whatever, not the point, but like, is that something that they will be receptive to? A lesson I heard and I've always kept close to heart is that it doesn't matter your intention, it matters how it is received. You could have the best intentions in the world, but if the way the recipient receives it is not as you intend, it doesn't matter. That's really all that matters, how they receive your intentions. And quite often with catcalling, especially random catcalling, I would bet that most people who are recipients of that do not appreciate it. So if you do that behavior, I'm not telling you to stop or not do it ever. Maybe there are situations in your life where that is applicable. Maybe that is how it works wherever you are in this world. But hopefully my story, or my experience, causes you to think a bit more and just read the situation. You see somebody and yeah, you might think they look appealing physically or whatever it is, but read the situation. A person alone at a bus stop, a person who looks really tired, a person who looks visibly uncomfortable, who just doesn't want to talk. And even sometimes they will sound like they are somewhat talkative or willing to talk, but sometimes it's an act, like it was today. So yeah, if you're still watching, cool. Thanks for listening, and I hope this, yeah, I just hope this helps somebody else. I hope it helps somebody to know that at least this one person out there in the world, understand that feeling, and it sucks. And next time, if there is ever a next time, I will not let that happen. I will stand my ground, and I will make sure that my boundaries are respected.